What are they looking for, and how do they deal with this?
Well, as you were saying, Reverend, time for some subpoenas in New Jersey, and that's a bunch of them right at the beginning. Certainly, they're trying to get personal emails as much as any government emails and trying to capture text messages, which, as you know, don't stick around forever. With everything that is out there, there's got to be a concern that what can be the most important evidence in an investigation, email, text messages, those things don't necessarily change the way sometimes a witness's testimony can evolve. That's why they're starting out very aggressively, very expansively with those things. They've obviously identified a number of people that they think have some connection to what they believe was the decision-making. But this does not mean that these 20 subpoenas are the end of it. It could be just the beginning.
Let me go back to you again, Kendall. What are the possible criminal exposure that is faced here by those involved and the governor? Because clearly the Assembly and the Senate investigates on one level, but what are the possible criminal charges, if any, that you think could possibly come from some of this?
Well, we certainly begin by acknowledging that the fact that somebody gets a subpoena, even that something is said about somebody, doesn't mean anybody's guilty. But what I think from the information we've gathered so far, the indications are clear that New Jersey has a law when power, the power that's entrusted to a public servant, is misused deliberately. It's a crime, it's a felony of official misconduct. And I think that while there are federal charges that could be considered, if the feds want to get creative, the core criminality, if there's been a crime, is going to be under the New Jersey state laws for misuse of power for an unauthorized reason when it's done intentionally. And that, by the way, Reverend, gets us into a lot of complicated issues in terms of who would be the decision makers with respect to a state criminal investigation. Isn't the Attorney General of New Jersey ultimately in charge, and who appoints that Attorney General? Well, a special prosecutor could be appointed. New Jersey law permits it, and that is a decision which would involve the concurrent action of the Attorney General with the approval of the governor. Now, the feds may have jurisdiction here, but looking at this as a former prosecutor, it doesn't seem like there's a clear example of a federal crime that would be easy to put together. The most logical charges could be under state law, and that would take us into a complicated thicket in terms of figuring out who can independently handle that kind of investigation. Well, Reverend, the specifics of the official misconduct laws refer to a public servant, somebody who's working for the government. But you know what they say is a prosecutor's best friend, the laws of conspiracy. And so prosecutors looking at this case would not only consider those who had public power, public authority, but those acting, if there are such other people, in conspiracy with them.